Hello and welcome, I'm your host, Mefu, giving a full video review on the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk. This game is based on a French fictional adventure which parodies role-playing games in the form of books, comic books and audio episodes. This comedy adventure takes place in a medieval fantasy world filled with stereotypical role-playing game characters. I have over 100 hours on the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk. I'm a massive fan of all RPGs, tactical turn-based games, and I'm an even bigger fan of comedy, and this game has it all. My humour has been compared to a very young child on multiple occasions, so I may not be the best judge of what's funny and what's not funny, but I find comedy can be very subjective depending on the personal taste of the person. But the comedy in Dungeon of Naheulbeuk is definitely my style of humour. Alright, with that out of the way, I'm going to start off by saying I love this game. The difficulty, the comedy, the 24/7 banter between characters, and the combat system. Everything just flows so nicely. It's almost like they designed this game just for me. So I'm going to give a rundown of everything that makes this game great.
On my head, you f***ing more. Where are they?
Starting off with the visuals, everything about the graphics has this nostalgic, cartoony feel, from the way the characters walk to the attack animations all the way down to the environments around them. There's just something about the visuals that feels so warm and welcoming whilst you're playing. Granted, the graphics aren't out of this world amazing, but the way it's designed gives the game so much personality and it uses that to enhance its comedy value. There are many beautiful locations to explore, from twilight streets to castles, all the way down to the dark depths of the underworld. The Dungeon of Naheulbeuk, whilst being fairly linear, gives you the illusion of choices in the form of which you can choose which quests you would like to do before the others, and also gives you the chance to make choices that influence the story. All of it backed up by its incredible soundtrack. I'm a massive fan of epic music, and this game has so many amazing tracks that have me humming along with it. I only got the chance to play the game in English, but I was not disappointed in the slightest. The voice acting is top notch and have me fully immersed into the characters' separate identities and quirks from the start. The characters' in-game party conversation flows so nicely between the cast, as did the chemistry between the voice actors, rounding off the game's impressive visual and audio charm perfectly. Right, on to gameplay. There are 4 difficulty levels to cater to whatever your taste may be. Easy, medium, hard, and very hard.
Enough talk. Let's fight.
That's right, it's combat time. So you're in control of a party of characters. You take turns on each character to move and use abilities. You have a total of 2 action points to use every turn to either move, attack, or defend. Moving will cost you 1 action point, as will attacking. You also have the option to sprint, so you can cross the battlefield faster, but doing so will consume 2 action points. You have access to a large array of powerful area effect spells and abilities that will hurt your allies if you misplace them badly, but will turn the tides of battle if used correctly.
I evoke and you choke!
You can stun, knock down and knock back your enemies. The first 2 of those will disable your opponent's next turn if the crowd control ability lands on them and doesn't get resisted, meaning your enemy will not be able to do any actions on their turn. There's also the ability to delay your turn till the end of the round just in case you wanted to time a special attack.
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Let's not forget all the loot, the glorious loot, and it comes in all shapes and sizes, and it is plentiful in the dungeon. So in the game there's also a randomity meter that is given to you near the beginning of the game. The meter rewards you for bad luck, so say for example you keep missing, or they keep dodging you, or anything like that, critical failures, this will charge up. And once it charges up, you get granted powerful abilities depending how charged up it is. These abilities can range from being extra attacks, healing, or even teleportation. You need to utilise all of your assets that you have available to you, including healing your wounded characters to stop them from dying. Or even moving your wizard into the perfect position in order to knock the enemies out of stealth using a powerful area of effect spells. Don't forget to move your feet to get the play of the game Frostbomb, disabling all your enemies in a block of ice. It works both ways though. Your enemies can also freeze, stun and set you on fire, much to your disliking. Not to mention being completely webbed and having a spider spit poison over your whole party. I don't know about you, but that kind of puts it down on my day. Almost forgot the puzzles. The Dungeon of Naheulbeuk has a great amount of puzzles and riddles to quench your thirst. They're just the right amount of difficulty where they aren't too hard, but they are also no pushover. Okay, advanced combat mechanics. In the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk and various other games, they have a mechanic called Overwatch and a mechanic called Attack of Opportunity. Both you can use your advantage or your disadvantage. So here I've got 3 of my ranged characters in Overwatch. Overwatch is something you can do at any point in your turn, which allows you to go in defensive mode. Anything that enters your Overwatch zone will be shot at by whichever character you made enter Overwatch, and will last until you fire all your Overwatch shots or until you enter your next turn. But it's not just to your advantage, the enemy can also make use of these mechanics. In this combat scenario, my ogre takes attacks of opportunity because he ran past enemies he was in melee range with. One does not simply leave for melee and live to tell the tale. At least he got his revenge by burping all over them. Now on to my favourite topic, loot. You can find upgrades for all your party. These items come in common, uncommon, rare and epic, and can be armor, weapons or even trinkets. Skill tree. This is where you see all your passive skills, your active skills, your attributes. It's a place where you can change the characters to fit your playstyle. There's quite a massive amount of variation in these skill trees, and you can always respect by buying a potion of oblivion, so no need to worry about making any mistakes. So there are 6 stats: agility, strength, constitution, intelligence, courage and charisma. On top of that, there are 7 characters and 1 optional character you get to pick, bringing the party to a grand total of 8. The Ranger, the Dwarf, the Elf, the Thief, the Barbarian, the Wizardess, the Ogre, and last but not least, the Priestess, which is my character I picked. Each of these 8 characters have their own individual skill tree and attributes. You have to put points in the lower skills in order to unlock the tier above it. Every time your character levels up, he or she gains 1 active skill point and 1 passive skill point to spend in the tree, as well as some attributes to use. Time to go shopping! There are shops scattered all around the dungeon where you can buy potions and equipment or sell your hard-earned, covered in blood loot for gold. Gold in the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk doesn't really seem to run out, so don't worry about saving too much. Oh, and there's a tavern you can rest at to recover to 4 HP, which I thought was pretty damn
It's
cool.
an actual tavern, open to the public. Crazy.
This game is jam-packed with all the things I love. Comedy that actually made me laugh out loud. I don't think I've played a game yet that has made me laugh as much as this. Possibly South Park and a Stick of Truth, but that was a long time ago. The combat setting is a refreshing take on all the other turn-based games, similar to XCOM with the low cover and high cover and having to move your units by tiles, but instead of using ranged weapons for everything and the occasional shotgun or katana hit, instead you're using your bare fists, hurling magical spells and dwarves at your enemies. No one expects a dwarf to be thrown at their face, or even have an ogre walk up to them and unload a toxic green gas that stuns them. The game is fairly linear, not on roller coaster rails kind of linear, since you still have choices, but at the same time I actually find that quite comforting. I'm not sat there wondering if I walked into the wrong part of town, or if a high level lich is going to come out of nowhere and eat me up because I entered an area I wasn't supposed to. There wasn't a single character in the cast I didn't like the personality of or the humour, except maybe the bard. His voice was quite annoying. Thankfully he wasn't a permanent addition to my party and I actually got to pick someone else over him. There were a few bugs here and there. I would call them more teething issues, but it still had less bugs than a lot of the AAA games I have played in recent years. Considering it's a small indie company that actually made this game, I'm pretty impressed. I'm still overwhelmed by the attention to detail. You can really feel the developers' love that went into the game when you play it, and I don't mean in a weird way. The difficulty level was perfect for me. I played on Jesus Nightmare, the game's hardest difficulty, and yeah, I got my ass kicked a lot. But there wasn't a time where it felt unfair or unjustified. Well, maybe occasionally I wanted to reach into my screen and strangle one of my characters for missing a crucial blow, but it wasn't as often as some might think. I tried to keep my video reviews spoiler free, so I didn't put any clips that had story, but I promise you, if you got a sense of humour and like turn-based games, you're gonna like this. I hope they make a sequel or prequel to this amazing title. I'm gonna even put it up there with my top 10 games. I'm Mefu, I hope you enjoyed my review, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.